Hi, my name's Colin Basran and I'm the Mayor of Kelowna. How I became the Mayor of Kelowna is, well, there's a number of factors, I guess, that sort of led me to where I am today. I guess the first would be that for some strange reason, I've always just been drawn to politics and political figures. I was born in 1977, so I will share my age with you. I turned 40 this year. And growing up through the 80s, actually, I can recall a time after watching a Ronald Reagan speech on TV. For those of you who don't know, Ronald Reagan was a president of the United States in the 1980s. And after watching one of his speeches on TV, I actually told my mom that I wanted to be the first Canadian president of the United States. Obviously, that's not allowed, and clearly I went a different path, although given what's happening down there now, maybe I should have kept on that path. But anyways, so I've always been drawn to politics, but what made me actually decide to run for mayor was actually the fact that I was really wanting to see change in our community, because I had seen a lot of my friends as they grew up have to leave town because they couldn't find opportunities here for jobs or for schooling. And so I really felt like I could make a difference, and I believed that our city had so much potential that wasn't being realized. And so I ended up running for city council first, was elected, and then made the jump to mayor the next election, and it is a dream come true. But I wasn't always in politics, and actually my very first job was in an Indian restaurant that my aunt and uncle had opened downtown in the late 80s, early 90s. And my first job was basically just as, I guess you would call it host now. And I was 13 years old and helping people find their seats and just being social. I love being social, love talking to people, so it was a really good fit for me. Well, I think it's vitally important to get involved in your community, because I know sometimes that it may not feel like it, but you truly can make a difference. And what I find so encouraging is that I've had the opportunity to meet with a lot of young people in our community who are doing some really amazing things and truly are making Kelowna better for all of our residents. So I think what I would ask, and it can be really simple, is even if it's something like volunteering an hour a month, so it's not a lot of time, but just volunteer an hour a month in an area that you're really passionate about. I can tell you that we have amazing charitable organizations that span a vast array of different disciplines and various activities. So I guarantee that you would be able to find something that matches your interest with a great social agency in our community. So what I would ask you is, if you're passionate about any particular area, whether it be about animals, whether it be about helping young kids, whether it be helping the older population in our community, whether it be helping businesses in our community, whatever it may be, there is an organization in our city that I know you would have an interest in. And even if you could volunteer an hour a month or potentially more, I can tell you that you would be doing work that would help our community immensely. And in the meantime, you would make some amazing contacts and learn about some of the great things going on in our community. And I think lastly, if there's maybe even something more important that comes out of this, is when you turn 18, I would really encourage you to vote. It is so vitally important that people in our country take every opportunity they can to vote. We saw in the last provincial election where the person declared the victor in that riding was only as a result of a handful of votes. And so really, I know that sometimes you feel disenfranchised, or perhaps there are no opportunities for you. I can tell you there are opportunities, and I would really encourage you to get involved. So there are a number of different things that I really care about and have been factors for me running for city council, and particularly as mayor. So I'll touch on two that I think are really important and sort of fit in nicely with the things that you're learning in school. The first would be, and something that's really important for me as Kelowna grows and expands, is the fact that we really need to limit sprawl. It was found back in the day that suburban neighborhoods that were dependent on automobiles were appropriate and the proper way to plan communities and to see sprawl continue to grow. But we know now that sprawling neighborhoods and continuing to push the boundaries of our city is actually not healthy. Not healthy for the environment because it encourages people to continue to use their automobiles. And we also know it's not healthy for physical and mental well-being of people living in those neighborhoods. Because what we find is when you live in a suburban neighborhood, oftentimes you're in your car, you're commuting back and forth to work, and as soon as you get home, you drive into your garage, close the door, and that's it. There's no interaction with your neighbors. You're probably tired from your long day at work, so you're not getting exercise. And it's also found that suburban neighborhood planning actually leads to social isolation, and so it's not good for your mental health. So what's really important for me, because we are one of the fastest growing areas in Canada, and I want to keep welcoming the world to our community, is we need to get people to live in smaller spaces in our urban centers, closer to where they work, closer to where they go to school, and closer to where the amenities are, like transit, like active transportation corridors, so that we get people active, we get people interacting, and most importantly, we get them out of their cars because it's going to help the environment. And I think we've seen lately with the flooding of Okanagan Lake and more forest fires in our area that the environment is how do I put it? Climate change is real, and we need to find ways to adapt and make our city more environmentally friendly and healthy for our residents. The other thing that I think is really important as Kelowna grows is to provide opportunities for young people. So once you're finished school, I hope Kelowna is a place that will be able to afford you an opportunity to find a good job, that it has good amenities and good entertainment, vibrant arts and culture, and that there are housing opportunities here for you. And so I really want to make Kelowna a great place for young people, so that if you choose, and I hope you do, and don't get me wrong, I encourage you to go out and see the world, but I really hope that when you're ready to start a career, potentially start a family, that I really hope that Kelowna is the place you'll choose. And so those are two really important things that I and City Council are working on. So I guess, final words of wisdom to you students out there, and I know you hear all the cliches and, you're probably going to roll your eyes when I say this, and I get it, because I was your age once too, and I did the very same thing. But for me, I think the most important thing is just follow your passion and do what you love, because the last thing you want to be doing is, stuck in a job or heading down a path that you're not happy with. And so I know for me personally, I became the mayor, but it's not because of any particular schooling I had or any career experience that made me suited for this job. I love Kelowna, and that really is the bottom line. And I believe that what I have to offer, I hope is making our community better for everyone. And of course, not everyone will agree with that, and that's the great part about living in a country like Canada that is democratic. But I guess, like I say, is just follow what you're passionate about, and it'll serve you very well, and you'll be really happy in the long run.